And the theme song in Bad Boys from 1995, Michael Bay's directorial debut, a filled with testosterone motion picture, goes a bit like this. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come? And Bad Boys, this is an exponent of the masculine cinema filled with testosterone, and the second part, the sequel, even more so. The third one, well, they are a bit long in there too, the protagonists, but the second one I think is the apex of masculinity. How strong guys could be.
You got 2 rovers on the balcony, I can't get a shot off.
But The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, really, he is masculine. I wish I could look like him. What is that?
That is the peck pop of love. Now go on and throw it.
Hi there guys, I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel called Blast in the Past, and this time around I have a review of a 4K edition of Ambulans from 2022, directed by the one, the only, the legendary, at least in some circles, Michael Bay, starring Jake Gyllenhaal as one of the protagonists. So without further ado, let's get ready for this high-octane ride, as some critics say, dumb yet extremely entertaining. And trust me, buckle up, you will need, because it's a crazy ride and it's a race against time. So I hope that you will enjoy my take on this film, and in advance, please leave some comments in the comment section below under this video. Show me some love, and also this channel some love, because it needs this support. So without further ado, let's get ready for a piece of Michael Bay's typical affair, for better or worse. And as the beginning of the original synopsis in German has it, it goes a bit like this. Die zwei sehr unterschiedlichen Männer, Will Sharp und Danny Sharp, ein Krimineller, sind Adoptivbrüder. And can't you see the resemblance? They are twins, the main protagonists, played by Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. Can't you see the striking resemblance between them? But of course they are not twin brothers, but only adoptive ones. But I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Bay, with his type of humor, his sense of humor, would make them twin brothers.
Would you say that he's my pretend brother? He's my real brother!
Regarding the title of the film Ambulance, not only is it a remake of a Danish film, but also there was a film called Ambulance, released in 1990, and actually I have it here. This is a Ambulance from 1990, starring Eric Roberts and James Earl Jones, and this is a Spanish DVD release, so this is Ambulancia, the Ambulance from 1990, and I believe that I also had somewhere the Blu-ray Region A locked edition, but I have this one at hand.
Roberts, James Earl Jones, The Ambulance.
Maybe I'll decide to give it a go next week. Actually, it doesn't have the best scores, because on IMDb it has the average rating of 5.9, and on Rotten Tomatoes it boasts the score of 49%. Not too high, but I think it may be pretty interesting. It's a horror thriller with some action, so it sounds to me appealing enough.
I don't know anything about you dead woman in the park, okay? I was just trying to get away from that.
And on the back cover of this Spanish edition, we also have some summary in Spanish, so it goes a bit like this. Josh conoce por casualidad a Cheryl, que le confiesa que es diabética cuando comienza a sufrir un ataque. Una ambulancia interviene rápidamente llevándola al hospital. Cuando a la mañana siguiente Josh decide hacerle una visita, Cheryl ha desaparecido sin dejar rastro. Cuando se da cuenta de que la policía no le hace caso, Josh decide investigar por su cuenta. So in brief, Cheryl is diabetic and she goes to hospital, there is an intervention, whatever, but the next day she disappears, she's lost, she vanishes into thin air, and probably the plot thickens from that moment going on.
An ambulance. It picks up New Yorkers, and they're never seen or heard from again.
Maybe a couple of words about the cast. I will focus on Jake Gyllenhaal because he is the major star in this motion picture, and he's a very interesting actor. Right now he's around 43 years old, so he still has some gas left in the tank, that's for sure, in the business. But I like him because he picks up very often risky roles. He's been in many interesting projects, like for example in Donnie Darko in the 1990s, and also in 2014 there was Nightcrawler, a very interesting thriller. It was about a reporter, a journalist who goes on night rides to film some extreme graphic footage. And also in 2017 there was the film Stronger, which flew completely under the radar, but Jake Gyllenhaal's role is really fantastic.
Welcome home. Is it good to be back?
Because he plays a wounded person who loses his leg in the Boston Marathon bomb explosion, a terrorist attack, and I'm surprised that it received so little recognition, that film and his performance. And in here he's also believable, and he plays a bad guy, and you can see that he was having the time of his life on the set of this film. And in the bonus feature they mentioned that whenever they wanted to keep the tension up, they would do some press-ups on the floor, they would jump a little bit.
Now, I just wanna live.
To bring back the adrenaline rush, to keep the juices flowing in their bodies, to have energy for the action sequences. I really hope that Jake Gyllenhaal will get the recognition he deserves, sooner or later, in Hollywood.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
And about Michael Bay, I have a love-hate relationship with this director, because I really like his previous works, and especially the first one, Bad Boys, 1995, and the sequel, which is pretty much hated. It is just a great actioner, no-brainer, buddy film, so I'm nostalgic about it and I also like it. But later on he started creating big-scale projects which he is famous or infamous for. Of course, Armageddon and Pearl Harbor. But moving on, when he started devoting his attention to the Transformers franchise, that's where things went a little bit south, I suppose. Because the first one, the first Transformers film, it was very good entertainment. And I was surprised with how good it was. But later on, the sequels, many numerous sequels, I think that he typecast himself, if we may call it like that, relying on big budget flicks with stupid, silly humor. This is not my cup of tea. Although those films made a big buck at the box office, so that's why probably he decided to go along with the narrative, with the vibe.
I'll drive, you shoot!
But I do like it and I do appreciate it when every now and then Michael Bay starts experimenting with the cinema and he goes into a different direction. And that was the case, for example, with The Island with 2005. It was more ambitious and it didn't gross that much at the box office, but I like this blend. A little bit of science fiction, some interesting plot mechanics, but there is the big scale destruction as is typical of Michael Bay's films. So that was something out of the box a little bit. But later on, in 2013, we had Pain and Gain, starring Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Anthony Mackie as stupid bodybuilders who decide to kidnap a rich businessman, and it's allegedly based on true events. And that was for Michael Bay a small-scale project, but I liked it really much.
Gotta get a pump.
That's it. It's good. It hurts. I know it does.
It was a riveting ride without big explosions, without the panache, so it showed that it was possible. And Michael Bay is also very good in smaller projects. There was 13 Hours in 2016, and it was an actioner, but also it had a message, so it was something out of the box for Michael Bay. And 2 years ago we had Ambulans, so it features all the elements which Michael Bay is known for, but in terms of the budget at least, it was a smaller project. But to me it looks like a throwback to the 1990s, and also to Michael Bay's less popular films. So once again, I think that Michael Bay is a director worth rediscovering, because he's not only a big budget flick guy, But at the same time, in his resume, he has some smaller projects, underrated gems worth checking out. Also, in this 4K/Blu-ray edition, there are some bonus materials and they run after the film has been finished. You don't even have to move to them individually, and usually I do not watch bonus features, but yesterday I had a look at those and that was very impressive. How much work, how much effort was put behind the scenes. You normally do not realize that, and although for Michael Bay it was a kind of a small scale project because it cost only $40 million, you can see how much attention was paid to the details, and you may see the panache, the grandeur of that, blocking the streets and using as little CGI as possible. There were many ambulances used in the creation, in the filming of this motion picture, and like I said, so I was stunned by how much work had been put into this, how much attention had been paid to the details. And when they were filming it, everything had to be spot on, the details, because Michael Bay, he's a perfectionist, and chapeau bas to him. I may not like all of his motion pictures, especially all of those Transformers films, apart from the first one, which I thought it was marvelous. I saw it at the cinema and maybe I'm nostalgic about it. But in this case, thanks to that documentary and the bonus features, I admire his effort.
One, action!
I admire his craft, his dedication to the craft even more. So once again, Michael, chapeau bas to you, kudos to you, because you did a marvelous job and it shows on the screen. Really, it looks like a film from the previous decades, from my favorite decade of the 80s and the 90s. How they relied on this classic filmmaking. Instead of using CGI everywhere they could, they used longer shots whenever possible. They put a lot of money into the practical effects, into the scenography. And this is also the heart of this film, the beating, the throbbing heart. And that's what I loved about that film. That again, it looks like a genuine throwback to the 1990s regarding the action scenes and the simplicity of the plot. Maybe it was completely unbelievable, but it did its job, and it does the job, that's for sure.
32 million. I need an extra man.
I came to you for a long...
So definitely, if you do have some additional spare time on your hands, please devote it also to acquainting yourself with the bonus materials, because they are worth it, that's for sure. Like I said, I'm not a bonus material extra content guy, but in this case I by accident made an exception and I'm glad that I did. Like I've mentioned, the film cost around $40 million to make, so it seems like a lot, but on the other hand, for Michael Bay it was just pennies, it was nothing. It was a small scale film, but it grossed worldwide only $52 million, but at that time the cinemas were still very slow. That might have been one of the reasons. And regarding the critical reception at that time, the film scored surprising 68% on the Rotten Tomatoes website, and on IMDb currently it has the average rating of only 6.1 out of 10. What I'm most surprised with is the negative reception in the comments section on the IMDb website. Many people dislike this film, they even outright hate it. There are many scores like 1, 2, 3 out of 10 because of the incredibility of the plot, because it runs for a longer time, because it's over 2 hours. And this is a remake actually of a Danish, if I'm not mistaken, film from 2000-something, 2004, Ambulans. And the original one was around 90 minutes. This one is over 2 hours. But like I said, you really can enjoy it, you don't feel it that much. There is one great sequence after another. It takes place on a running ambulance, so this is typical Michael Bay in a nutshell. Maybe a smaller scale budget, but all his trademarks are there, for better or worse. And right now, let's move on to some pieces of trivia regarding Ambulans. Here goes the first one. The helicopter chase sequence in the Los Angeles River was not in the script. Michael Bay came up with the idea over the weekend after 2 helicopters became available for use. The scene was shot in 2.5 hours with the help of helicopter pilot Fred Nolt. Instead of hiring stuntmen for the sequence, Jake Gyllenhaal was actually hanging off the side of the ambulance's door and shooting at the helicopters himself, while Yahya Abdul-Mateen II was driving. And I saw it also in the bonus materials, and for the majority of the time it seems that it was Jake Gyllenhaal hanging off the door and filming the scene. I can't vouch for everything that no stuntman was involved, like they say, because I've seen in the comments that actually maybe there was, and also they mention it in the GIFs on the IMDb website, but really it is impressive. Again, it's the dedication, the devotion to the craft. And another piece of trivia regarding the confined space used in the film, because it takes place mostly inside a running ambulance. The limited space inside of the ambulance required Jake Gyllenhaal to hold the camera for a couple of takes. And also they came up with many different variations of ambulances. One of them, it didn't have the sights, so you could film those 360 shots, for example. And this is also great, that everything was done by the book, the old style, the old-fashioned way. This is what I admire in Michael Bay's work on this film. And regarding the credibility of the plot, here's another piece of trivia on the IMDb website. Removing the bullet at all cost is a Hollywood myth and does not help a gunshot wound injury, apart from potentially worsening the bleed if not done in the proper setting. And this is so famous or infamous, so popular, this plot device, that there is a bullet wound and you need to remove the bullet as quickly as possible, otherwise the patient will die on the operating table. But still it is so common that it has become accepted, and if it's for the better of the narrative, I mean in terms of how thrilling it is, so okay, let's turn a blind eye on that and accept for what it is.
God.
And right now, another piece of trivia regarding Michael Bay. I know that actually the military likes him because very often they let him use the equipment, like it was the case with many Transformer films. And here goes this piece of trivia. On the first day of filming, while shooting footage of the ambulance driving on a freeway, Michael Bay noticed several patrol officers and 3 motorcycle cops. He asked them if they wanted to start, to which they agreed, and used the opportunity to sweet-talk the officers into creating a rolling roadblock, allowing them to close the freeway for free, instead of having to pay a fee of $350 up to even $400,000. And this is Michael Bay at his best. He's such a recognizable director, for better or worse, because of his flashy actioners, big-scale projects, very often brainless entertainment, but you also need that kind of entertainment every now and then, that everybody wants to star and participate in his films. Even Jake Gyllenhaal.
I think he has a real reverence for actors. I think he really respects the process, and I don't think people would necessarily assume that of him.
In the bonus material, he says that he always wanted to work with Michael Bay. When he was given a chance with the Ambulance project, he decided to join the cast. So it shows the star power, the clout of Michael Bay in the world. The critics may hate him, even some part of the audience may hate him, but generally, if there is a big scale project, many people would like to get involved. So it speaks volumes of how great Michael Bay is, of how recognizable Michael Bay is.
You know, he does work in spaces that are dangerous, you know, in the physical space and things like that.
And the last piece of trivia, Bay used Falk ambulances for this US remake of the Danish original. Falk was founded in Denmark as a rescue company in 1906 and used to be one of the most respected Danish company brands. And they are also featured in the bonus materials. The exponents of that company, they say that they are proud to have joined Michael Bay's film, and also they had to produce several variations of the same ambulance for many sequences.
Mike is really making something, I think, with a lot of appreciation for those who gave their service.
And there's one funny piece of trivia. Michael Bay in this film, he references his own work, his own motion pictures from the past by having characters mentioning some of the lines from other films. And according to this one, the film contains references to past Michael Bay films. Like, for example, Will Sharp is named after Colonel Willie Sharp in Armageddon from 1998. Officer Mark advises Officer Zack to ask a bank teller for a through a movie quote from The Rock from 1996. Will and Danny discuss Bad Boys from 1995, and that was Michael Bay's directorial debut in Hollywood. And the last one, the orchestral music over the titles at the end of the film comes from 13 Hours, which was released in 2016.
36 American lives to save.
And the theme song in Bad Boys from 1995, Michael Bay's directorial debut, a filled with testosterone motion picture goes a little bit like this.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we come for you?
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? And Bad Boys, this is an exponent of the masculine cinema filled with testosterone, and the second part, the sequel, even more so. The third one, well, they are a little bit long in there too, the protagonists, but the second one I think is the apex of masculinity. How strong guys could be. And also regarding the critical reception of Ambulance at the time of its premiere, there is a nice quote which I can relate to, and it goes a little bit like this. It's featured on Rotten Tomatoes, and it was written by Christy Lemire. I hope that I haven't butchered this surname. It is so dumb, and I'm so ashamed of myself for enjoying it as much as I did. And I can second the motion. Actually, I am also a little bit ashamed for having enjoyed it so much for what it was, and for what it tried to do, and it did pull it off successfully.
Let's go, D.
You are all gonna have the greatest story to tell.
In terms of Pain and Gain from 2013, Michael Bay's film, everybody in the cast is very jacked. They are on something, you can see. They are buffed, they are shredded to the bone, jacked to the gills, and especially Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, known from his wrestling times before the Hollywood career, and he would be announced with this slogan or a catchphrase, "If you smell what The Rock is cooking." And I know what The Rock is cooking actually, and it's healthy food, but I think that maybe there is something else also in his diet. I mean the supplements.
What The Rock is cooking.
But this is so funny when everybody, not only Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, but also Mark Wahlberg, he's in his prime, probably all-time big, the biggest physique he has ever shown so far, and also Anthony Mackie, who usually is not so jacked, but in this case he tried his best, although he sticks out from the trio. But The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, really, he is masculine. I wish I could look like him, that's great, the physique.
Mr. Doble, are you currently using steroids?
I think they messed me up.
Don't worry, that's what we specialize in here. Penis magic.
Also, regarding this particular edition, this release, actually I am very proud of myself for having watched this film with German subtitles, because this may be a French release, but it features numerous subtitle options. Apart from the French one, we also have English subtitles, German subtitles, and Polish one. A very interesting choice, but if I may recommend something to you, I would recommend you to watch any foreign film with different subtitles if you learn some other foreign language apart from English, because this is great, this is fantastic. Even your level may be pretty low, but it doesn't matter, because you will always pick something up subconsciously. So just to underline it, I am really proud of myself for having seen it with German subtitles.
Danny, alle wissen, wie gefährlich sie sind.
In a nutshell, that would be my take on Ambulance. I think it's a film worth checking out. If you like no-brain, pure fun films, actioners of this sort, this is something for you. Remember, do not try to analyze what is going on, at least not too much. Just take it for what it is. Take it at face value, for better or worse. Switch off your brain completely, shut it down, grab some popcorn, coke, munch on it and enjoy this brainless entertainment. This is Michael Bay at his best. A fast-paced thriller which will keep you at the edge of your seat until the very last minute of this enjoyable ride. Thank you very much for your attention, guys. I hope that you have enjoyed my take on Ambulance from 2022. If you have liked my review, please give the video the thumbs up. Please share your thoughts on Michael Bay, on the film itself, on Jake Gyllenhaal and other members of the cast, and maybe also on the physical format, whether you are fans of those, whether you collect them or not. If you are not subscribed to this channel, maybe please consider subscribing to it. And maybe you could also recommend this video to your friends. I'm looking forward to reading from you guys, and that would sum it up for today. Thank you very much, and until next time, cheers, bye.
What do you want?
Just gonna borrow it.
I got a cop shot. I gotta get him to the hospital.
I'm gonna need you to help us. Why don't you help us?
We doing hospital.
Which will keep you at the edge of your seat.